Hello everyone, welcome to the Land Timber channel. We're going to talk about Eve NG Pro upgrade. This upgrade was from version 2.0.4.24 to 2.04.42. I believe that's right. But this is the latest version, and I believe it came out first part of June. So I'm a little behind, but it was around the time that I was getting ready for Cisco Live. So I wasn't really to cover this. I always like to try to cover on this channel networking lab software. I actually have contacts with Eve NG devs. I've had personal contact with Viral devs. Not with GNS3 yet, but I do cover GNS3. I have all three installed in virtual machines here. But this is about Eve NG Pro upgrade. And I'm going to play a video here. I woke up the other night about 2 a.m. in the morning. And I'm going to comment through this as we go along. But I woke up at 2 a.m. and I couldn't get to sleep, and so I decided to go ahead and do this because there was going to be no other time for me to do it. I'm not in labbing mode right now. I'm in CCIE written study mode. But the first thing I did was go here, go to eveng.net, and I have, of course, the Pro Edition already, and it appears that this was just a Pro release. We can actually load the website here. Already got it up. So notice that the release notes, and that's one thing I will say, a lot of software has a specific page where you can go to the release notes. That's not the case here. I think GNS3 might even be the same, but it's basically just the homepage. So this was released March 12th. That's the version I was running. And then this is the new Eve 2.04.42 on June 11th. That's right. So 9 days ago it was released. And of course, it talks about here the professional cookbook, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. It's a big deal. So these are your release notes and your basic procedure to the upgrade. So it's very simple. But I went to the cookbook first, and I did a search for the actual upgrade process on the cookbook. This is sped up by 8 times, by the way. So it just says basically, log in as root to your VM, check your existing version. There it is, 2.04.24. And ensure that, there's a couple of prerequisites. And the next thing we're going to do, we have to make sure we have internet. And then we're going to do apt. Now, I had a little issue here with the commands. I'm so used to running Ubuntu for so long. I try to do apt update. I did the command incorrectly. It says apt space update. And a couple of issues I had were related to that. I didn't follow the instructions. But, hey, it still worked anyway. I did the way I know how to do it. It was just apt get upgrade. But it's been a while since I've been a Ubuntu user, so I didn't realize that the apt has changed a good bit. So this is what took the longest time. And this, again, is just because of my computer. I have not run an update on here in I don't know how long of Ubuntu. So I'm just taking the opportunity to kind of go through some of the documentation and log on to the support page. I think at some point I noticed a discrepancy or wanted to report a discrepancy about the command not working. So I just logged in to the support page, the live help desk, and I was just using the general forum. It turns out because I'm a pro user, there is a pro forum, or pro channel that has, I guess, a different level of support. But it's interesting. I got an immediate response. So at that time, I was educated. Hey, Quentin, by the way, Ubuntu has a new version of apt. So you don't have to do apt-upgrade anymore, or apt-get upgrade. And it's not apt-upgrade. You just have apt-space upgrade, but same difference. So that's really what took the majority of the time. I also had some comments here. And I wanted to try to report. Oh, yeah, someone was asking about hardware to run, and I was able to answer the question from the documentation in the new cookbook. But yeah, I was just looking that over, and the support was excellent. So that's one thing I really wanted to comment on. I mean, I had pretty much immediate response. This was an issue I saw. I don't know why I did this, but I decided to try HTTPS, eveng.net. I think because I was just typing it in the browser, and it was natural to type HTTPS. So, okay, well, I'm doing this upgrade. Let me go ahead and just report this now. And I did go ahead and report that to support right away. I'm trying to be a good netizen and report issues that I see and let them know. So yeah, the update is still running. Like I said, it took overall about an hour for the entire process to run. Again, most of that was just updating Ubuntu. Because what you'll find is there was some discrepancy too. There's not many commands here, folks. Apt update, apt upgrade, then you do apt install EvenG Pro. You reboot and you're done. That is a procedure. What I did report, though, there is a discrepancy in the workbook. The workbook does not list this last step, or second to last, app install EvenG Pro. So I did report that to support, so I'm sure that in the next version of the cookbook that will be updated. I really didn't need the cookbook to do the upgrade, but I wanted to use it just to get familiar with it. And one of the developers had sort of slipped me a preview a while back of the cookbook, and I was very impressed. So I was really excited to see that, and that is one of the highlights of this release. If nothing else, no other feature, no other, if nothing else were to come out of this release except the cookbook, that to me would be major, just because documentation, more and better documentation was sorely needed for the EvenG product. And I do, one developer's mentioned to me that, of course, native English speakers were involved in the editing of this cookbook, and I think it's an excellent addition to the product. So I highly recommend you check it out. I think it's going to be really helpful to me as I begin to use more features of the cookbook. I was worried a little bit about licensing. That's what I'm checking now. But there was no additional licensing steps required. It just obviously is activating the existing license over the internet, and no additional licensing was required for this particular upgrade. Again, this is not a major upgrade for me. Something else I will say about the upgrade is that it was extremely simple. Now, in the past, anytime I've done an attempted an in-place upgrade with either GNS3 or Viral, maybe even EvenG Community Edition, I'm not sure. Maybe it's when I went from Community to Pro. But upgrades have always been fraught with problems. I don't know why. Again, I know these are, not super mature products, a lot of them. A lot of them are community projects. So, in a sense, anyway. So yeah, the upgrades have been problematic, and I've always shied away from doing even a minor upgrade. I've had major issues even with minor version upgrades that have completely hosed my lab system. That was not the case here. Again, it was just a couple of commands, and I was up and running. I didn't have to do anything else. So I was really impressed. I was a little afraid, to be honest. I was a little nervous to do an in-place upgrade. I'm so gun-shy these days. Generally, I'll try them, but I made sure I had a complete backup before. Always, of course, do your backup. And I like how GNS3's documentation says it. By the way, let me pause here. This screen came up that I was not expecting. It was not documented. I got a configuring Grub PC prompt. I have seen this before, so if you're a Linux user, if you're a Grub user, you weren't afraid of this. I was not afraid of it. I just hit intersect with the defaults, and it's not a big deal. So I did report that as well to the to support. Anyway, like I was saying, I like how GNS3 puts it. If you're about to take an exam in the near future, do not attempt to upgrade your software. And I agree with that. I'm not in that scenario, so I was happy to do it. And there we see, I did the check just for grins. Okay, there's another actual upgrade. This did not take very long. We're getting to the end of the video, so we're in about at 8 speed. We're in about 15 minutes, so there's about 10 minutes left to just kind of wrap this video up. 2 minutes for you folks. But yeah, very well done in-place upgrade. Just some very minor issues, which I did promptly report to support and got a response on. Like I mentioned here, I'm not a real good qualified person to review the actual upgrade features, only because I don't use a lot of the pro features yet. I'm not in lab mode. Yeah, here's me, I think, on the pro. No, that's still the general help desk. You see I'm getting really good responses here. And I actually know this person from Router Gods. So it was kind of cool. We identified ourselves keep in mind, folks, this is like 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm getting there's 2:15. That was a previous post, but getting really good responses, and I was overall very impressed by that. So just to wrap up here, that kind of wraps up. I think you'll see me in a moment. Yeah, I just had to wait a moment. There we go. It boots to the new, and there's my lab, so we're all good. Yeah, overall impressions. These features, again, there are some release notes here, new guacamole, new shutdown QEMU modes. These all sound really good. Some new templates, new dockers. But again, it's not super detailed for some people who might want to see more of that detail. But I don't use a lot of features yet. So unfortunately, I can't really comment. What I really wanted to say with this video overall is that, one, the upgrade was very smooth for me. It was quick. I had great support. I love the new documentation in the cookbook. I think that's a great addition. That's a major sort of upgrade just in terms of documentation. So if you're expecting an upgrade, I would definitely recommend it. Do a full backup first. And if you have any issues, reach out to the support. I'm sure they'll take care of you. And that's all we got. Thanks for reviewing, folks. Please feel free to subscribe if you're not already here to this YouTube channel. And you catch my live streams on Twitch Monday through Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and throughout the weekends. Thank you.